Hey guys, so most of you know that I just recently had my baby girl, Eleni, and I am exclusively breastfeeding, so the main question that I mainly get is, how is breastfeeding? I also pump and freeze milk, so I get tons of questions on pumping and freezing milk. Well, I basically wanted to do a video just answering everyone's questions about that, so I don't have to write to everyone one by one. The minute I got pregnant, I always wanted to breastfeed. I wanted to stay dedicated because I know so many people, the advice they gave me was, oh, it's so hard and you know you're gonna quit and whatever. When I was in the hospital, she was having trouble latching. As for me, this is TMI, but I do have flat inverted nipples, so it was very difficult to breastfeed. And I know a lot of new moms tell me, you know, that's the issue I have, I have flat nipples and she's not latching. So thankfully the nurses at my hospital gave me a thing called a nipple shell. There's two things, there's nipple shield and there's nipple shells, which I'll try to insert pictures here so you can see the difference. I had a nipple shield and she was not liking it. The nipple shell is supposed to help bring out your nipples. I wore that basically for a whole month, and then now I don't have to wear it at all, and it was a really big help. So if you do got flat nipples, that's one thing I do like recommend to buy. In the hospital, since I did have flat nipples, they told me to pump and then give her boob. Just pump just to let it out and then give her boob. It was quite hard because of the whole latching, and I know some moms, that's why they give up, is because, you know, the whole latching, and then you get overwhelmed because you're a new mom and then you're afraid that your baby isn't getting milk, which of course that's how I was. I thought Eleni was not getting milk. She would cry and I would think it was because she was staying hungry. I knew I did not want to quit. I didn't want to give her formula. You know, my husband and my mom was like, oh, just give her a little bit of formula. I was like, no, I am gonna stick to breastfeeding because I know I can do this. So do not get discouraged, because I think every mom goes through this. The latching, it does hurt in the beginning. It hurts so bad. I mean, it's a hungry baby just getting on your thing and sucking the hell out of it. It did hurt, and I mean, they say you have to go through the pain, but for me, what I did was, you know, I just dealt with it the 30 minutes or 15 minutes on one boob, the other 15 minutes on the other, and I just dealt with it. And after I'm done, you know, they do have nipple cream that helps a lot with sore nipples. Thankfully, I never had to deal with cracked or blistered nipples, because I was always on top of making sure every time I was done nursing, I made sure to put the nipple cream on it. If you do have problems with her latching on or your baby latching on, you can always call a lactation consultant. I mean, I had one in the hospital and she helped a lot, and she sent me home with a bunch of papers with tips and questions with answers. How long does she feed? In the beginning, she was staying on the boob honestly for a very long time. It could be 40 to 45 minutes, sometimes almost an hour, and it's only because in the beginning they are learning how to latch on and suck. Also, we don't have a lot of milk, so they're helping our boobs, you know, prepare for when they grow, and, you know, basically prepare our boobs to start producing more milk. A lot of moms get confused. They think their baby is staying hungry. I thought Eleni was staying hungry, but I just kept giving her boob whenever she wanted it. If she slept for 10 minutes and woke up and wanted boob, I made sure to give it to her. Now that she is 6 weeks old, I think she got the hang of breastfeeding, and I've got the hang of breastfeeding. It's very tough. You just gotta go with it, and the number one key for me is consistency. Do not give up on yourself. You know, don't just get some formula. No, just keep on doing it, because it's worth it at the end. I thought, oh man, a month of doing this, I don't know if I'm gonna do it, and it's been 6 weeks since I've been breastfeeding, and now it's super easy. I mean, it doesn't hurt me anymore. She latches on good. She went from feeding from 40 minutes, and now that she got the hang of it, she'll eat for 15 minutes and she's done, and I think that's honestly amazing. Basically, that's all the advice I have for breastfeeding. It's just make sure that you just keep doing it. Don't give up on yourself. And you know, there's help out there. YouTubing videos on breastfeeding advice and everything, watching all those videos helped me a lot. But honestly, I just think that as long as you keep putting that baby on your boob, you should be good. Yes, the first month is hard, but trust me, it's not gonna be hard forever. And as you can see, she was on the boob for 5 minutes, for 5 minutes, and now she's knocked out. Now I want to talk about pumping and freezing milk and how I do that. After she's done eating, it depends if she's in a, if I feel full, I most definitely will pump. And usually, since I got down to this routine, my breasts always feel full because they're producing way more milk than she needs. After she's done eating and she's sleeping, sometimes right away I'll grab my pump and I'll start pumping for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes of pumping, I will put the bottle in the refrigerator. The milk is good for 24 hours and then you have to freeze it. If it's been in the refrigerator more than 24 hours, I believe you can't freeze it. I make sure that it's under 24 hours, I put it in a freezer bag, and I put it in the freezer. If you do decide to pump after nursing, make sure it is an hour before her next feeding, because you don't want to pump and then 10 minutes later she wants boob, which my lactation consultants say if that happens, just give her the boob. Babies are usually patient, but I've never had that issue because I made sure just to pump right after I'm done nursing, or 30 minutes after I'm done nursing. So in the beginning, I just got maybe half an ounce, maybe an ounce from both boobs, and a lot of women get discouraged because they think, oh, that's just a little bit. But if you do that after every single feeding, at the end of the day, you're gonna end up with maybe 3, 4, 5 ounces. I did that because I know for sure I wanted to have milk in the freezer just in case for emergencies, like if we're out, emergencies like if one day I dry out and I don't want to switch her from breast milk to formula like in a split second. I would want to transition her. In the beginning, a lot of people will nurse on both breasts because you want to even out both of them. You want her to get used to both breasts and not just favor one. But now that she's older and she eats really quick, I usually will nurse her. Sometimes I pump on the other one at the same time. That's an option you can do also, is pump on one boob and feed on one other. But usually I just, when she's done nursing, I just pump both at the same time. Now that she's 6 weeks old and I've been doing the whole nursing and pumping, I have a lot of milk. I will nurse her, and I'm not lying, after I'm done, I don't get, like, the least amount I'll get is maybe 4 ounces, but I usually get more than 4 ounces. I put that in a freezer bag right away. If you do get like half an ounce or 1 ounce, just keep saving it throughout the day, and then usually at the end of the day you'll have a lot of milk. But I do not freeze more or less than 3 ounces. If I pump more, or if I pump less than, like in the beginning, when I did pump less than 3 ounces, I'll only pump like 1 or 2 ounces. I would just keep that in the refrigerator because it is good up to 8 days. So I'll just keep that in the refrigerator, and whenever I got tired or I wanted my husband to feed her, I'll just put that in a bottle and it's good to go. But remember not to if you're gonna feed her from a bottle, make sure to pump so you're not so engorged. So that's another thing when it comes down to pumping. If you are gonna pump and save it in the refrigerator and give her a bottle, make sure to empty your breasts, because you don't want the milk to stay inside you, and then the next feeding, you're so engorged that they're like rock hard and huge where the baby can't even latch on. So if you do give the baby a bottle, make sure to pump. That's what I do. A lot of questions I get is, do you pump at nighttime? So in the beginning, I didn't pump. Once it got to nighttime, maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I wouldn't pump after that. I would just give her boob, and I'll pump maybe the next morning at 7, 8 a.m. depending on when I wake up is when I start my nursing, then pumping. Now that she's older though, sometimes she sleeps through a feeding. She won't wake up. She'll just want to stay sleeping. So I make sure to be strict with myself and grab the pump and pump out that milk, because I have, was like, oh, she's sleeping, I'm gonna sleep, I don't need to pump. And I'll wake up the next morning in pain and they're rock solid, and I will pump and I would get like 8, 9, 10 ounces, and I'll just be like, holy moly, I need to pump at night. Do not like skip a feeding. Make sure to give her, you know, make sure if you're gonna give her a bottle to pump that milk out. If you do get engorged, my tip is a nice hot shower. Just let it, what is it called? Just let it, the shower just hit your chest, and then you can massage them, and the milk might start coming out, because that has happened to me. And you're good to go. Either you can nurse your baby or you can pump that milk out. So now that I think I've basically gave my honest opinions and tips and stuff like that, I think I'm gonna head downstairs and put the milk that I pumped in a freezer bag and show you guys how I go about that, and maybe show you guys my freezer stash also. Okay, so now I'm downstairs and I wanted to show you guys my little setup and basically everything I have, and I wanted to show you guys how I store my milk. So I have these containers and they're just filled with a bunch of things. This is where I keep my storage bags. This is where I keep some of my extra pump accessories. Of course, this is my drying rack. And then in here I have storage bottles. I have the 5 ounces and the 3. So I used to use these bottles because they're only 2.5 ounces in the beginning when I was just pumping 1/2 ounce and 1 ounce, and then now I use these ones that are 5 ounces. When I pump, I would pump like 1/2 ounce or 1 ounce, and then I will end up with like literally like 5 of these, 6 of these. After a whole day of pumping and then keeping all of these in the refrigerator, you'll end up with a lot of milk. These are the 2 different bags that I use. I use the Medela one and the Lancino. I used to use these in the beginning when I was just pumping maybe less than 4 ounces, because I noticed that when I put more than 5 ounces, it's so big, sometimes they leak. I had one whole bag of breast milk leak on me before, and it was heartbreaking. These have a double seal. I've never had a problem with leakage here, so if I have like 3 or 4 ounces, I'll just put them in my Medela bag, because I've noticed that the more milk you put in the Lancino, the better it folds and stuff like that, and then the less I put in the Medela. This is what I pumped from my last pump session. I got about a good 5 ounces, so I'm gonna put that in my Lancino bag. One thing I do love too about this is that it has like where you can write the date, the volume, and the time. This just has this up here, so I really like these. So I wrote down everything I had to write down, so now I'm just gonna fill it. Get every last drop. So my advice, and it's so hard to explain, I know they have so many videos on YouTube, is you want to get as much air out of the bag. So what I do is I basically lay it flat. You don't want to lay it too flat, because then your milk's all gonna fall out. So you just want to lay it flat, still holding on top, but kind of like squeezing out the air, because you don't want air bubbles in it. You want to keep your milk as fresh as possible, because milk in the freezer, I've heard, is good for 6 to 12 months. So yeah, so I just lay it flat, and little by little I let the air go I let the milk go all the way to the top, and then once it's reached the first well, for me it's the first what is that called? Oh my god. Oh, the seal. Once it reached the first seal, I close it, and I close the second seal right after. But I mean, if you're using the Medela bag, it only has 1 seal. This is a double seal. So as you can see here, there's like no air bubbles, and it is perfect. I swear, like, I love doing this. I love putting the milk and trying to get all the air out. This is basically what I do, is like I lay it like this, and then little by little you know, holding the seal. I like basically do that, and then I close the seal, and then yeah, and that's how I put my milk in the freezer bag. And this is how it looks. This is one that I did this morning. This is how it looks when it's all frozen. It's rock solid. Yeah, I honestly. And this is how the Modelo bags are frozen. So as you can see, they're way thicker, and I love how thin the Lantano bags leave them. This is basically my freezer stash. I have all of these saved up, and all of these. I like how the Lantano stands up better than the Modelo. So yeah, that's why I started using the Lantano bags more. So this is all my milk I have a lot of milk. So that's about it for the video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me, and if you have my number, feel free to text me. I'll give you, you know, more advice. And if there's anything else that I didn't go over, I know there's so many things that have to do with breastfeeding, just let me know, and I can either make another video about it, or I can just write you. So I hope my video helps you guys, or helps you guys in the future. So thanks for watching.